Lonnie the theater lady. How are you, my gal?
I'm great, and how are you? It's nice to see you.
Delightful now that you're here.
Me too.
What have you seen?
Well, I just saw Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde at the Prime Stage at the New Hazlitt Theater on the North Side. I just saw it today, a couple minutes ago, actually.
Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Now, we have to be exact about this because there's a lot of different versions of this flying around out there. This particular version, this is a world premiere that Prime Stage was performing.
And we all know who wrote it because you already told me when I said to you, guess who wrote it? Robert Louis Stevenson.
Well,
of course.
The original, yes. But not this stage adaptation.
Well, it was adapted by Bruce Hall.
There we go. Mr. Hall is to be credited with what you saw this week.
Yes, but the whole story was written something like 1850.
Right, and a lot of people forget this. It's actually a very, very short story.
Yes, a novella.
Right. Oh, that was very... you enjoyed that word, I can tell.
Yes, I like that.
Right, but in a lot of the adaptations that we've seen and read, it's fleshed out a lot more. We forget that it began as a very, very short piece. So what has Prime Stage done with it?
Well, they created a set that was just fabulous. Mm-hmm. The downstairs was Dr. Jekyll's living room, entertaining room, and the upstairs was his laboratory, which was very mysterious and accessible and totally visible from the seats.
Well,
but it was
if
really
one does
cool.
have a lab in their home, you do prefer a two-story, and you would like it to be accessible. I think that's form and function. I really appreciate that. If I had a secret laboratory, I would.
I guess. I thought it was more for theatrical
I would be looking at that thinking, well, how could I incorporate that into my home?
And the lighting just added to the whole tone of the mysterious and kind of sinister, but yet the main role, the lead of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, played by Andrew Miller, was done so sympathetically that he made Dr. Hyde so lovable and such a kind, sweet man dedicated to science and experimentation that it was really easy to feel empathetic for him when he became Mr. Hyde. And even though Mr. Hyde was certainly despicable and evil, you still felt a little bit of empathy for him because he was a result of a scientific experiment and it gone awry. But everybody knows the plot. I don't think I really need to get into that too much. But this show was directed by Michael McKelvey, who is a professor at Point Park. So, of course, we're talking about excellence in directing. And Utterson, the attorney, who was the other lead, I would say he was on the stage the most, was John Feitner. And he and the interaction between Hyde and Jekyll, they had a long-term friendship, and you could feel the warmth of their friendship, which I thought was a little hard to convey because as he became more suspicious of Dr. Jekyll and what was happening, and he still maintained that warmth and friendship, which easily could have been passed over or not portrayed as well if he hadn't been so skillful in his acting.
Oh, very good.
And I would be remiss, I'm off topic again, as I always am. The period costumes were fabulous.
No, that's on topic. That's a part of the show.
Oh my gosh. I was especially, the men's were wonderful, but the women, the housekeeper for Dr. Jekyll is actually a student at Point Park, Adrienne Knapp, and she played Christine, and I couldn't wait to see what she was wearing every time she came out on the stage. Then his love interest was Diana, Carew? Diana Carew, who was the daughter of Sir Danvers Carew, and her costumes were amazing, just really beautiful because she was more upper class than the housekeeper.
Oh, sure.
And that was played by Katie Oxman, who was the one equity actor in the whole show. And she was very charming and likable, and I felt sorry for her. She loved Dr. Jekyll, and he was turning into a monster.
Mm-hmm. And he again played both Dr. Jekyll and Mr.
Hyde.
Sometimes they split it up, but no, he transitioned.
No,
very well
and you
between
actually
these two.
watched him take the potion and change.
Give me your top 3 reasons to see the show.
Well, one of my reasons would be to see Tanya Lynn play Mrs. Odium. She was comic relief. There were some very comic lines in this, by the way, which I wouldn't have expected. But it was a good cast. There were others that I haven't mentioned. Johnny Riley was Sir Danvers Carew, and the last I had seen him was in the Kinetic show Romance, the new Mammoth show.
Yes,
He was hilarious in that show. So it was really fun to see him in a very dramatic and serious role. It showed how really versatile he is as an actor. The amazing set and the lighting, the way it created moods that were so phenomenal. And what was the other? Oh, the costumes. Magnificent.
What would be the personification of your Mr. Hyde?
Well, mine wouldn't be so violent. I wouldn't be hurting people and killing people as he did. I would be running around correcting grammar. And making sure that people behaved in a way that I thought was appropriate and proper. And that they respected other people's property. And I would say that would be the major portion of it. And help me, maybe when they were my guests, help me clean up and tidy up a bit.
Wait a minute, your alternate persona would help you clean up? So your alternate persona would do your housework for you? Is that what you're saying?
I'd be like a slave driver.
But it's you! Well, I know, but the whole point of Mr. Hyde is that that's the evil version. The version that you're describing is just the more anal retentive version of yourself.
Okay, well then what? I would exercise more.
Evil! Give us evil.
I'd cut off people in traffic.
Okay, yeah, we're getting somewhere.